Hey everyone, welcome to House Call. I'm Dr. Rueben Brock. I'm here with Danny Miller. For those of you who just joined us, this is House Call with Dr. Rueben Brock. I'm here with some dude.
It's Danny Miller.
He's not really that consequential to the show.
But his beard looks good.
I don't even know why, truthfully, why are you here?
Because I like sitting in this chair.
Yeah,
bro.
but I mean, what is the purpose that you serve?
Sitting in the chair, looking good. Feeding you lines for you to chew on.
It's called House Call with Dr. Rueben Brock.
And me.
I never saw that.
I'm going to put that on.
I was going to say.
House Call with Dr. Rueben Brock.
And me.
And me. I love it. I love that idea. It's going to be like the stamp.
Yeah, like one of them little boom, and me.
Yeah, certify this.
Anyway. So I recently learned something about myself that had been being masked for 45 years, right? And I didn't know this, but apparently I had just adapted and learned to kind of hide it, right? So over you already know this, but over the last couple of years, I just been seeing like strains in my relationships. Things are it was just difficult. Things were difficult. Maintaining my closest relationships became very, very difficult. Other than my wife and you, all the other relationships in my mind, they all felt broken to me. Okay. And I'm like, what is happening? Why is this happening? That's weird. So I'm on this like kind of journey of self-discovery. Okay. And then the pandemic hits. And in the pandemic, I noticed I was feeling more anxious. Like as it started to roll on. In the beginning, I just loved it. We were home all the time, kicking it, playing with the baby. I'm loving it. But then eventually what happens is I start to feel more stressed because clients started coming out the woodwork, needing help. People started to feel the pressure of the stress of COVID. So I'm getting more phone calls. And then work starts piling up at the university because everything is virtual and we're having to learn how to do virtual class and students are freaking out.
We're shooting less.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of stuff going
everything
on.
was going on. So then I just started to feel more stressed. And what I noticed is some of the things that you have always known about me, I've always known about me, is my little quirks. They started to get more pronounced. Okay. And so I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, why am I like this? And here's what happened. So I had my stomach's rumbling. Hopefully you can't hear. I need food. Hold on. Do you hear my stomach rumbling?
No, I can't take my eyes off that shirt. You want to tell me what ass be?
We're gonna get there. Okay. We'll get there. All right. So I'm feeling stressed. I'm seeing these quirks about myself, and they're becoming more pronounced. And at the same time, I had a client, young boy, teenager, who has this sort of like Asperger's like presentation. And I've had a handful of Asperger's clients or autism clients in the past 6 years of private practice. I wouldn't consider myself an expert in that, and so this one happened to just be kind of like challenging for me. Okay. So I'm like doing some reading. I'm doing my homework, right? And I'm reading about Asperger's, and I'm reading. And I'm like, that sounds like me. Like, it's just everything, all of it. I'm like, well, I do that, and I kind of do that. You know what I mean? I'm running down the list like, this is weird. But I'm like, nah, it's whatever. That's not possible. Right. But then one day over Thanksgiving, I'm sitting in my basement and I'm looking at my bar. My bar. I love that bar. And I decided, because it was never really functional. It was just kind of a piece of furniture. It was decoration. But I decided I wanted it to be functional. I just got this idea in my head, middle of the day. I'm running around getting ready for Thanksgiving. I decided, you know what? This bar needs to be functional. So I go to the state store and I buy like literally like 10, 15 bottles of alcohol. I did research on like what you need in a home bar. And I don't even drink. right?
I know.
So who am I buying this alcohol for? I don't know. But I needed it, right? I was compelled to do it. I couldn't think about anything else until I got this bar functional. And so then, I'm setting up the bar, getting all the stuff. I'm like, the spacing is right. And I'm all the labels are faced the right way. And I'm sitting in the basement on the floor, looking at it, just happy.
Yeah.
Just like super happy, feeling super fulfilled. And like, it just gave me such satisfaction. But then I thought to myself, is that weird? And then I started thinking about it in the context of this Asperger stuff that I've been reading. And I was like, all right, this is weird. I've got these, relationship difficulties. I got this repetitive behavior stuff that I do. There are times when I do have like this strong difficulty, like controlling my emotions. I have these emotional outbursts. I've always done that. And all this stuff. And I'm like, man, this is weird. This sounds like autism. But I'm like, but that's not possible. That doesn't make any sense that I could be 45 years old, PhD in psychology. I'm a counselor. That's what I do. And I don't know that I have autism. That doesn't make any sense. Right. And plus I'm thinking like people with autism really can't do like empathy with people. Right. That's what I'm thinking. And so I'm like, all right, I got to talk to somebody. So I'm like, I need an expert in autism. I'm not going to take my word for it. Like, so I did a consultation and the dude's like, no, yeah, it's possible. That's a thing that happens. Right. That's not strange. So I'm like mind blown, like this is real. So then I got this book, Late Diagnosis Autism. So about people who later in life figure out that they have autism. And I'm like reading this book and I'm just like blown away because it describes my life to a T, like everything about it. Mm-hmm. And it made my stomach hurt, but it also gave me a weird sense of like belonging.
Like you were home?
Yeah. Because all of a sudden I'm no longer alone. I've always for my whole life felt completely alone. And wow, just saying that, I didn't even think about the fact that that could feel like something, but just saying that was hard. I've always felt completely alone. I didn't know that was going to happen. So I'm reading this book and it's blowing me away. Like, was this dude following me around? It was that spot on. So I'm like, I need to know. I'm not taking anybody's word for it. I need to know. So I called everybody and like called places in Pittsburgh. Nobody could do it. It's a pandemic. So like people are like, one place said they would get me in, but they were like, yeah, it'll probably be 4 or 5 months. And I'm like, you don't know me. I ain't got 4 to 5 months. Mm-hmm. I need this answer right now. So the place the guy that I did the consultation with, I called his place and I was like, would you do it? And he was like, if you come to Philadelphia, yeah. So I got in the car and went to Philadelphia, spent a night in Philadelphia, did a full psych eval, and eventually it came back. And I'm thinking like, here's the thing, I'm thinking it's going to be like I barely have autism. You know what I mean? Like you got a little sprinkle of autism. Mm-hmm. Nah, dog.
You're on it. Like, you're a part of it.
Here I go. Mm-hmm. So what's weird is that it feels so good to know that I'm not an alien. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. To know, okay, this is a thing that happens. It's a thing, right? Because the big issue that I always had before was, why does this keep happening to me? Why are my experiences like this? Why can nobody else see the stuff that I see?
I've asked myself the same thing about you. Why would he say that?
Yeah.
Why would he?
I'm always like, when I say something and someone's like, that's hurtful, I'm like, how could that possibly be hurtful? Mm-hmm. What do you mean that's hurtful? I told you something that is factually based. What do you mean you have a feeling about it? I don't have a feeling about that. Or even if I do have a feeling about that, I'm able to completely separate my feelings about it and just talk about it in a theoretical way. Mm-hmm. And people are like, no, I can't do that. Like, and I'm like, what do you mean you can't do that? You can't just talk about it? And I've always felt weird for that. I've always felt weird because anytime I'm in a situation where there are people interacting, it feels different for me than I can tell it feels for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around like, why are we doing this?
Yeah. And I think people are reading that from you.
Yeah, but people think it's arrogance.
Yeah.
People think like, oh, he thinks he's better than you. Mm-hmm. No, it's that I literally have no idea why you're doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I'm confused.
Yeah, but also fixated on it.
Yes. Yeah. I'm confused about it, and the thing that I want more than anything in life is to understand. Mm-hmm. I'm obsessed with understanding.
Yeah.
And so then I'll ask questions like, I noticed that you did that. Why did you do that? But it's like some deeply personal stuff that they did. Mm. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm just trying to ask you what happened because I want to understand. And I might even be able to help you because I'm pretty good at like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But people are like, nah, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. Difficulty reading the temperature of the room.
But here's what's weird. I now understand that you're not supposed to ask people those questions, but I still don't understand why you aren't supposed to ask people those questions. I know that the rule says don't ask those questions, but I feel like I'm going to jump out of my skin.
Yeah. I'm sitting here trying to think of how you and autism and the way that you are have impacted the way that I think.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Yeah, because I don't have any idea why you have just stuck it out in a way that others couldn't.
I've never had to defend somebody as much as I've had to defend you. Answer to why you did this or why you said that.
You've told me that before.
Not a racist.
Right. Somebody thinks I'm racist.
Yeah, I've never had.
That's crazy.
To do that with anybody like I have to do it with you.
It's because I don't filter things.
Yeah, but it's also you have this. What you're saying is actually true.
Right. Yeah. You won't really catch me out here lying.
Right. I've never met anybody more truthful than you.
Right. And that's very, very typical.
You hold people to account, especially the ones who are the closest to you, who you love.
Yes.
Yeah, and that can be hard to hear.
That's very difficult because people are like, I really wasn't asking you to critique me today.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, I understand that, but I'm just trying to help you be the best you can be. And I really would appreciate it if you do the same for me.
Right. But it comes across
as
arrogance and he knows that he thinks he knows everything.
Right.
But I think the reason that I stuck it out is because I see the value in it.
Right.
Like it's not always the easiest thing to hear or even to say to somebody, but sometimes it just needs to be said.
Right.
So I respect that.
My philosophy is that we've had this conversation. My philosophy is, what kind of friend am I?
Mm-hmm. If I let you walk around with a booger in your nose,
like that's what's interesting to me. What's weird to me is that our society has collectively agreed to several maladaptive behaviors. Mm-hmm. We've accepted them. And the best example I can give is, and I always give this example, when your wife says, honey, do I look fat in this? Mm-hmm. Or do you like this dress? Or, how was the casserole? The correct answer is, oh, that was the best thing ever. Mm-hmm. Or you look great. But if it's not true, I can't handle saying that it was.
What does it feel like? So if
it's like repulsive, it makes my stomach hurt.
If Dara asks you, you like this dress, and you say
the answer is gonna be no if I don't like it.
But if you don't like it, but you say yes, are you spending the entire night focused on this?
No,
dress?
I feel bad. I feel guilt.
Are you spending the whole night feeling guilty? So y'all go out to eat? Are you over?
Oh yeah, I'm eventually gonna tell her. Like if I were to say like, oh, you look really nice, and that wasn't true, I'll give it 2 hours. And I'm gonna be like
2 hours, it's eating you.
I'm gonna be like, baby, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
For what? For lying.
Damn. Yeah, that's you.
Yeah. So I just my policy is I'll just tell you the truth. You're gonna take this truth.
How did it feel when you got the diagnosis back?
Getting the diagnosis was very freeing for me.
Okay.
It answered so many questions. It gave me I instantly joined a couple autism support groups, and just seeing other people, it's all like social media. So seeing people tell their stories and have their stories be exactly like my stories made me feel like I'm a part of something.
People your age?
Right. These groups are, there's everybody in these groups. There's people from all over the country. There's people all ages. That's what the shirt came from. I bought this shirt like I'm repping my people. Like, right? Because you always see me repping black people stuff. Because that's what I do. Whatever I'm connected to. I'm always repping Cal U. I'm always repping psychology. Because I like to feel like I'm a part of something. And so then I was like, oh, well, word then. It's on then.
Yeah. I look at it like it's a wonder diagnosis, man. Not just the diagnosis itself, but actually you having actual Asperger's.
Yeah.
It's like having a cape.
Yeah. It, like, for me.
And the way you're using it.
Yes. The way I use it, in my opinion, it's golden. But what I will say, the hardest part of the whole process, and I didn't expect it at all, was reading the report. I cried when I read the report.
That's what I was trying to, when you got that. You felt free and understood.
But reading an objective assessment of my behavior was very difficult. Like she noted that, like, if you ask me a question, particularly, and she didn't say this, but I know about myself, it's particularly if it's something that I'm actually into. But if you ask me a question, I cease to be in a conversation with you, and I start to go into a conversation with myself where I'm off on a tangent. I can just talk, right? And I'm actually in my own world in a weird way. And which is why, like, if you watch depictions of a person with autism, like, you'll be like, well, what kind of food do you like? Well, I like hamburgers, but only if the hamburgers are made medium well. And really, truthfully, I like medium, but I can't handle the blood in the medium. And that's weird. There's blood in your food, right? Because there are thoughts on top of the thoughts, and you can't help but to share them, right?
But are you actually sharing them with you? You're not actually sharing them with somebody else as much as you are talking out loud. Yeah. So is it? Yes.
And a lot of the time, because what I didn't know is autism. The root is auto. It's self, right? So a person that really looks inward very heavily.
I know. I don't think I ever knew that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But for me, oftentimes, I'm really having a conversation with myself, and I enjoy the fact that you're here when I'm doing it. And don't get me wrong, if you can meet me there and we can vibe, me and you can vibe.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, like if someone, I feel bad a lot of times when I was at the club, and I would be at the club and someone would say, so what do you do? And I would just be like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah,
right.
Like, right. I know you didn't know.
Right.
You didn't know. It ain't your fault.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You want to grab a beer first? Because you about to be here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but I can't help it. It is what it is.
But you've found ways to adapt.
Yes, I have found ways to hide it.
Because you're not totally insensitive.
No, I'm not.
You used to be a lot worse.
Yes.
Man. Holy shit, Rueben.
But I've learned over the years, okay, people don't like when I do that. Okay, cool. And I've just integrated that information. And what my report says is basically this guy's brilliant because he has adapted to an extent that makes it so that you really don't get to see the autism unless he wants you to.
Right.
Right. But the problem is it's exhausting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It is absolutely exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my closest relationships, I reserve the right to just be myself.
Mm-hmm.
But what that means is you get to deal with it. It ain't gonna ever be small talk. We ain't chit chatting about nothing.
Yeah.
I don't do it. It makes my stomach hurt. And if you ask me about the weather, I might kick you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about like the Kardashians and like when Daryl will try to show me like jokes and stuff, I'll be like,
I don't get it.
and she gets so mad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that just seems trivial to me. I don't understand what that makes you laugh. That's weird. So I learned to adapt to the point where most people would never, ever, ever see this. But in my closest relationships, I feel like I want to be myself because I'm exhausted if I'm around anybody else.
But it's exhausting when you're completely yourself. It's exhausting for the people that you're with.
Yes, it's exhausting for them.
It's exhausting for me. It's exhausting for Dara. It's exhausting for Roz.
Right.
Because when
I'm
unloading and you're unfiltered,
it's heavy. It's a heavy load for somebody.
Yeah,
yes,
it's a lot.
It is. It's a heavy load because I've got all this information stored up and I need to get it out. And oftentimes it is stuff that is emotionally charged for everybody else. And I've known that about myself. When I have thoughts, I'm picking apart the whole world. I'm figuring out the world. I'm looking at what's going on and like attempting to understand it. If I could create a visual representation, it would be like you don't really watch the you didn't watch the Marvel movies.
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I watched them.
Okay, so Iron Man, when he's wearing his suit, he's got that. It's like an interactive computer. Jarvis. Jarvis is always helping him.
Vision. He became Vision.
Yeah. Yeah. But Jarvis like helps him analyze the entire world on the fly at all times. That's what it feels like in my brain. I'm analyzing and figuring everything out at all times. And that's what
rest.
No, I don't want to rest.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this before.
I live with urgency.
Yeah, like your time is running out.
That's what it feels like. For me, that's what it feels like.
But it is. Your time is running out. And I think the way you see your world is just an unfiltered view of reality. Right. Uncut and raw.
Yeah, I don't understand the idea of sugarcoating it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there are things that I'm not good at. Right. And I'm not going to pretend that I am. Yeah. I will acknowledge those things. My shortcomings are my shortcomings. That doesn't make me less of a person. Right. So that's the problem. So people don't want to face the things that I sometimes will say to them because in their mind, having these flaws makes them less than. But in my mind, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense that you're relating your flaws to being less than?
Yes. Yeah, because how could you be less than? Less than who and how? Where would that come from?
So you don't look down on people?
No, everyone's equal. Think about my worldview, what I want for the world. Everybody gets paid. There is no idea of better. That doesn't make any sense.
Do you really believe that?
What do you mean, do I really believe that?
So you've never looked at someone and said, yeah, I'm just better than that person.
Fundamentally better? I could say that. That person is dumb. But there are dumb people in the world. Yeah. So I don't understand me saying that is somehow hurtful.
But if you're helping somebody to fix a problem that they have in their life, you're not judging them for having the problem and being able to, or unable to fix it.
No, because in any given situation, I don't care what you're looking at. I've done therapy with a child molester, and I was able to see how his world would have created a scenario where that makes sense to him. I don't like what he's doing, but I don't think he's fundamentally worse than me.
That's what I try to tell people.
Because life happened to him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Life happens. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Bad stuff happens that leads people to make bad decisions because they feel backed up against the wall. They don't feel like they have a choice, and they do what they got to do. And when given the opportunity, if you took the hurdles away, they'd become good people. That's why it doesn't make any sense, the idea that someone's fundamentally a bad person. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. People are just navigating life in the best way they know how. Everybody on earth is doing the best that they possibly can in this moment.
With their given situation.
With their given situation. Some situations suck. Mm-hmm. You can't blame the person in it because they didn't make it. Mm. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Which is why I can't, like, Donald Trump was born wealthy. So you can't look up to him for being wealthy.
Right.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah, nothing to earn it. Mm-hmm.
People's circumstances are just their circumstances. And I don't understand the idea that when I point out, let's say, some arbitrary issue, let's say, I don't know. What I often see is somebody will be like, man, I wish I could go back to school. Year goes by, they say it again. Another 6 months, they mention it again. Why don't you go to school? I can't do that. Well, me?
You would have been graduated already.
Well, not only that, me in that moment, I will not have a choice but to tell you, you could go, right? Mm-hmm. If you wanted to go, you could go.
Right.
I'm not saying it would be easy, but it could be done. So if that's your dream, then just go do it.
Right.
Now, some people, particularly if they come to you looking for it, they love that. It's empowering because I believe in them. But if you weren't coming to me asking me for advice, it looks judgmental.
Right.
When I'm saying, just go do it.
Yeah.
Because now you're seeing particularly if you're not my client, if you're just my friend.
Yeah.
Right. I'm the rules of like how to clinically say it right, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff goes out the window.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to be me. And I'm going to be like, that's dumb.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just going to come out with stingers on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I now understand the extent to which those stingers hurt people. I didn't understand it fully. But I now also understand how and why I feel so compelled to just say it at all times.
It is truly fascinating, though, to think that we've been friends for this long. I've known you for...
I mean, think about me. I've been alive 45 years.
Kindergarten, yeah. So I've known you since we were like 5 or 6.
Here's the best thing. I think of it this way. Think about how many counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, and co-workers, medical doctors,
peers.
Right.
Yeah. Who missed it?
You mean to tell me I fooled all those people?
Mm-hmm.
That's, in my opinion, that's the coolest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
What's cool is I figured it out.
I wonder if there are any teachers in your past or
somebody
who are saying,
but that's easy now.
Yeah, hindsight is 20/20.
But at the same time, in all fairness, nobody would, again, social conventions. Nobody's gonna come up to you and be like, you know what, you might have autism. Nobody's gonna do that to an adult.
Yeah.
So I get it, but I really do wish for. Listen, if you were one of my old teachers, I'm not joking at all. If you're a friend, an old teacher, a clinician that saw me in the past, I actually would be really interested to know if anyone ever was like,
thought it.
Yeah, that might be autism. Because I do it all the time.
I was going to say, do you do that with students?
I do it with everybody. Intuitively.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone that I have enough time, but think of it this way. Psychology, counseling, whatever you want to call that realm, what I do, mental health, therapy stuff. It is maybe one of the only, I can't think of others. Maybe there are others. Yeah, athletes, dancers. Yeah, they would be able to say the same thing I'm about to say. It is a field in which you are the instrument. Right? So, in other words, a plumber, he picks up his wrench to go do his job. Right? So he's able to put the wrench down. So when he's at a party, he's still a plumber, but he's not grabbing the wrench and using it to like pick up like the crackers that are on the table. Right? So he's able to put the instrument down. A carpenter, he uses his hammer, but he's able to put the hammer down when he's not on a project. My instrument is my mind. And you can't not use your mind. Mm-hmm. So the fact that I have the ability, and in my opinion, probably the uncanny ability, right? Because I now understand that I have autism, and it explains why I am completely obsessed with understanding things, right? It's just that I happen to choose as a career. I guess it's not coincidence. It makes sense. I happen to choose as a career the one job where literally that's what you're supposed to do. So when I'm in a therapy session, it's me and like my glory. Like someone comes to me and says, yeah, I can't figure this out. I'm gonna just open up my mind for you and
let's figure this thing out.
And I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the most fun thing ever.
Yeah.
And you want me to like dive in and be brutally honest and yeah. See it from your perspective and understand and dive into the mud with you and sift through it? Can you come back tomorrow?
Yeah.
And wait, you're going to pay me?
That is a much welcome vacation from the
real world.
From dealing with the real world.
That's right.
Everything is filtered.
So, but the point is, so I have the Tony Stark helmet on at all times. Jarvis never turns off in my brain. Mm-hmm. Okay. What that means is when you're feeling nervous, I can see it, whether you want me to or not.
That's interesting.
When there's an awkward moment or you're holding back, I can see it, whether you mean for me to or not. I don't know why, but it is what it is.
And you're processing it.
I'm processing it. So then, well, what happens is eventually, if we're close enough, I'm going to be like, hey, what's up with this? And now you feel you're hurt because you've been trying to hide it.
That's happened so many times.
A billion times. Think about how many times in our friendship, I have called you out on something you weren't even aware was happening yet.
Not expecting it at all. Yep. Was not expecting it.
It's because of how I see the world. So my emotional intelligence is relatively high that's my guess. Like probably very high, right? Now, it's autism, right? So I don't process emotion the same way you do. Stuff that should be or in your world should be emotional to me isn't emotional to me. And stuff that is emotional to me, you're like when I told you when I got the diagnosis, it really hit me. You were like, really? But you've been saying you knew what the report was going to say. And I did know what the report was going to say. I intuitively knew what the report was going to say. But seeing it punched me in the nose. And I needed like a solid hour of crying.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. To wrap my mind around it, yeah.
How did the people around you handle it? I mean, obviously, I handled it pretty well. Dara.
You were great. Dara's money in the bank.
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. She's great. She is still wrapping her mind around this.
I mean,
it's big.
She's got to live with
it. Now,
it.
because she's now like, wait, hold on. I'm married to a dude with autism. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I know. She did not sign up for that.
She didn't sign up for that, which is something that I'm like.
But at the same time, you getting the diagnosis does not change.
It doesn't change anything, right? She married who she married.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's what she says. I married who I married. Mm-hmm. Right? This changes nothing.
Right.
But to her, it feels like maybe autism will become an excuse. Because now that it's the truth though. You can't tell me nothing.
Right. Yeah.
What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're telling me that the dude who overcame childhood trauma and poverty and became wildly successful after dropping out of college, having a kid at 17, the whole bit, all that dude, it was already a cool story. Mm-hmm. I was already patting myself on the back for being cool. Then you're going to tell me the whole time I had autism and I didn't even know it? I've adapted so well that nobody figured out that I had autism in 45 years. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me nothing.
Yeah. You're the one that discovered the autism.
That's what I'm saying. I figured it out. You know how many brilliant people I know?
Mm-hmm.
And I figured it. So I'm like, listen, I'm the truth.
Can we talk about how it relates? How does autism relate, and where does it break from narcissism?
What do you mean?
Because being able to say something that's on your mind without really considering how that's going to impact another person.
So narcissism is different in the sense that you're so centered on self that you really don't have any feelings about the other people. It's not that I don't have feelings about the other people. It's that most of the time I'm unaware that you have an emotional connection to the thing that I'm saying.
So the narcissist
simply doesn't care.
They acknowledge that you're not going to like what I'm going to say, but I don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah. In the moment when I realize that I've hurt you, I hurt for you.
That's where it changes.
Yeah.
And that's where it will break.
But the problem is big stuff. Like, in all fairness, I know when a random person says, "Do you like my new haircut?" I just have to take the L.
And just say yes.
Yeah. But you already know I don't like it. Why? Because I hate change. So if I like you and you change your hair, I don't like your new hair.
Yeah. Yeah. If you like the person, if you're close with the person, you're going to tell them.
Yes. But I know that I'm not supposed to. And most of the time now, I'll just take the L and say, that's nice. But that's how you know I'm not close to you.
So what are your real thoughts on my beard?
We're close. So you get what you get.
You said you like this, so that's true.
No. Oh, yeah. Yeah. With you, if I tell you I like it, you can be 100% sure.
Yeah, I figured that.
And I say the same to Dara. Dara's like, yeah, but would you really tell me if this? I'm like, listen, come on, you know me.
I won't be able to sleep if I don't tell you.
You already know I'm giving you the raw, the uncut.
She's so strong too.
Oh, she's a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Dara is like my life decoder kit.
Mm-hmm. It's a perfect match.
It really is. It really is. But outside of you, so your question was how has everybody managed it? You and Dara, that's my team. That's my team, right? You guys have done great. And then, like, people at a distance have been really cool. People like reaching out, telling me how proud they are of me, that kind of stuff. That's
acquaintances.
Yeah. People who are like, that's really cool. Good for you. You're an inspiration, blah, blah, blah. That stuff's cool. But the hard part is like the people who have to live with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you read the books, what you find is that it's typical for family to just not do very well with this.
Are you talking about doing well with the diagnosis of you having autism, or just you having autism and having to try to navigate through those waters?
Both. So all through my life, I mean, the reason this came up is a lot of people are just rubbed the wrong way by the way I am in very close relationships. So given that nobody knew I had autism, I think people are like, he's just a jerk.
And any of those people come to you and said,
people
apologized?
No, that's what I'm saying. My point is that's what hasn't happened. And so what's interesting to me is I'm like, and this is me being in my feelings. I recognize that, but I'm like, if you've been having struggles and back and forth with somebody for a long time, and you're like, why is this happening? There's this disconnect. There's this tension in the relationship. And then you find out the other person has autism. The person you've been arguing with this whole time has autism. How do you not feel bad? How do you not be like, Yeah. Like, cause I remember one time I was on Facebook arguing with somebody.
Before pre-diagnosis.
Oh, this was years ago.
Okay.
I was on Facebook arguing with somebody, and you know me, if I get heated in an argument, it might get ugly. So I'm giving somebody the business. And then I found out, I didn't know, it was like a kid. It was like a 14-year-old or something.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? And then I did exactly that. Like, listen, man, I really appreciate you being in this conversation. I really respect you, like, taking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Now I'm the jerk. I'm the jerk in this scenario.
Right. Yeah.
Because yes, it got heated, but I now know that this person doesn't have the requisite skills to navigate this conversation in the way that I wanted him to. He came off as rude to me, so I gave him the business. But now I know he's being 14. And me being mean to him for being 14, when he can't help being 14, that makes me the jerk.
Yeah.
Right? So now I have to fix it.
But were you being mean, or were you exhibiting symptoms or signs of autism?
Well, but they're the same. If you don't know I have autism, they look like being mean.
But in your scenario, you're talking about people apologizing to you with this new information, because now we have new information that you have autism. But when you have autism, even if you don't know it, and you're arguing with a 14-year-old, are you really the asshole?
I see what you're saying. I understand.
You are the asshole because you can acknowledge. You have the ability to rise above.
Because here's the thing: it's not. Autism can't be an excuse. If I know better, I have to do better. You see what I'm saying? So 9 times out of 10, when I say something that cuts you, I didn't fully understand that it would cut you.
But can you be expected to?
That's my point. No.
So how do you?
There's always there's always going to be those moments. As hard as I might try, there's always going to be those moments when I say the thing that is going to hurt you. Why? Because I don't understand why it hurts you. Not to mention, I will feel compelled a lot of times to say things. So what'll happen is I'll have to pull myself away from situations. I have to just not be me. I have to just be quiet. So as not to hurt people.
So
because I'm in addition to having autism, I'm a pretty opinionated person. So like it's an interaction. It's not, you can't put all of this in the autism basket. I don't think, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But my point is, you still have to try to be a kind person. You still have to try. You have to put forth the effort, right? But in what happens is, in the very close relationships where I've chosen to let my guard down, I'm not trying as hard to protect you, because I'm like, well, I got to be allowed to be me somewhere. And so then what happens is I get to be me with the people who are willing to stay.
I remember we had a little argument, which we never have.
Yeah, we've had very few actual arguments.
But it was maybe a month or so ago, and I remember you saying to me, I think it was pre-diagnosis or maybe post. It
was pre.
But you were already starting to realize.
Yeah.
But you said to me, so you're telling me that I can't say whatever it was, X, Y, and Z to you? I can't be truthful to you?
Right.
And I could hear in your voice, that hurt you. The idea of you having to sugarcoat something.
That means we're not really friends.
Yeah. You were really hurt by that.
Yeah. Because it's like you saying, I love being friends with you as long as you don't be you.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
Then we're not friends.
We're acquaintances.
Right. We're acquaintances.
Yeah.
And I've tried to explain that to people. And it's like, listen, this is how it works. In my world, friendship means one thing. If you love me, I'm allowed to be me. And it might suck for you sometimes. But trust me, it sucks for me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not asking you to put up with something that I don't got to put up with. You know how many things that people in the world... I have autism. I am autistic. That's something else we should talk about in a second. The label. But I'm autistic, which means a solid 80% of what happens around me gets on my nerves.
That's a lot.
At all times. Think about that.
Yeah.
And I have to eat it. But you're telling me you can't eat it for 5 minutes so we can have a conversation where I feel whole?
Is it stressed? I mean, are you feeling stressed 80% of the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
God, well, I mean, are you getting checkups? Like, what's your heart? What's your heart look like?
Danny, man, listen.
That can't last for very long.
It's real, which is why I'm so fiercely protective of my mental health.
Are there any like dietary adjustments that you would need to make? Do you need to take medicine? Or are there medicines available?
I've gotten pretty good at managing it.
Are there medicines available for what you have?
No, I think they would treat, like the medicine would treat the anxiety.
If there was a medicine, if there was a pill or whatever, would you take it?
If a pill that would get rid of my autism
that would knock
symptoms?
the edge off of that 80% of stress that you're feeling?
No, I don't want to think the way y'all think.
No, I wouldn't either.
I don't want to. No, I'll pass on that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, I want what you got.
Yeah,
I'll take that pill.
I mean, we've had this conversation. I would never want to go to the other side.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I'll ride this out.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah. I'm not trading this for nothing. Because look at what it's done for me.
I know.
My brain is my ace in the hole.
It is.
And really so is. I'll take the quirks because it's working.
I hate thinking about it or hate the idea of it, but how long can this last? With
what
your
do you
motor
mean?
Running at this.
Oh, yeah. Well, that part, that's true. I'll give you that.
Are you eating well?
I eat, yeah. That's one thing I'm terrible at.
That's the one thing that you would really definitely have to do is make sure you're putting the right fuel in your body.
I agree. And I eat terrible. So at some point I'm going to have to fix that.
Your
listen, Abida, don't listen to him. We could just ride this out. I mean, they use cane sugar, so that's cool, right?
I don't know what the fuck cane sugar is, but it sounds like sugar
I think it's better. It's better somehow than the other sugar. I don't know how, but that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I don't care. Listen, this is money in the bank.
It is fire, man.
It is. But anyway, so one thing I wanted to talk about real quick before we leave, because we've been talking for a long time. You know what's interesting to me? I've now gotten into the kind of autism community, like trying to learn about it and be humble and like see what the world looks like in the autism community. But there's like a debate. There's like an argument about what's okay as far as the labeling of a person with autism. So like there was this movement, and I generally have always been of the school of thought of, I don't call a person with schizophrenia, I don't call them a schizophrenic, because you are not your diagnosis. You are a person. You have a diagnosis, right? But, and that was a thing in the autism community for a while. It was like, no, I'm not autistic. I'm a person with autism. But then I think more recently, there's been this push to push back on that where people are like, nah, what's wrong with being autistic? Like if you're saying I'm a person with autism, it's like you're saying there's shame in autism.
I'm not black. I'm a person with melanin.
Yes. But what's interesting to me is, so on the one hand, I'm a clinician, right? So the clinician wants to respect what the community that is afflicted by a thing, I want them to dictate what it looks like. But I'm also, I'm the other person too now.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Thoughts on that? What do you feel?
In my mind, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. I don't feel that autism is anything that could be construed as less than. Because again, the way I see the world, that doesn't make sense. There is no such thing as less than.
Yeah.
So for me, I more naturally would say I have autism because it's just something about me. I have PTSD because of childhood trauma, right? That's the way I see the world. The stuff that's going, it's just stuff. Mm-hmm. But I understand that there are people in the autism community who want to affirm this is my identity, because I will now acknowledge I do now see this as a huge piece of my identity. I really do. I see it as a huge piece of my identity because it shapes so much of what I do and how I act and how I think. So in that sense, I can understand. And the difference between autism and schizophrenia is you have bouts of schizophrenia, right? If you're taking your medicine and if you're doing well, you might not have psychosis in this moment. There ain't no break from autism.
Yeah.
So I can understand someone saying, no, I'm autistic, just like I'm black. Because it ain't
I
changing.
think that would be the argument that I would make.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think, but maybe the people who are pushing back against that look at autism in the title, the label, as a stigma.
I think that's the problem. The problem is the recognition that trying to save me from the label means that you still feel the stigma.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let the stigma go, and then the label won't matter.
Right.
And I agree with that. To me, both sides are reasonable. But what's interesting is navigating the, like, if you said it, I could understand somebody correcting you. But I'm like,
if I said
you're
autistic,
yeah,
if I call somebody autistic,
if you call somebody the wrong one, I could see somebody correcting them.
What do you mean the wrong one?
Well, everyone's going to decide which one they like better.
Which label?
Right.
Okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
It's like black and African American.
Yeah. I see.
If you call somebody black and they prefer African American, they have the right to tell you, I identify as African American. Right? You're allowed to do that because it's your identity.
Right.
Right? And so somebody correcting you makes perfect sense to me. But I'm on both sides of the fence. So, like, in my opinion, a white person can't tell a black person, you're not supposed to identify as African American. You're supposed to identify as black. You can't do that. That ain't your business.
Right.
Mind your business. Right? But that's not how I feel. It's like, that's creeping into my head about autism. It's like, you can no longer tell me what I'm supposed to say about autism because I have a free pass.
Right.
I get to say what I want because I'm talking about me.
Right.
I'll respect how you want me to talk about you, but I'm allowed to talk about me however I want. But it's a paradigm shift because for the last 20 years, I've been a clinician. So I'm thinking about everybody else. And so really the overarching theme right now is I want to think about me.
Yeah, and you should.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm pulling back at my practice and just like, it's time for me to think about me. I've spent the vast majority of my life making sure everybody around me feels okay. And I'm just like, nah, it's my turn.
You know how people say there's no such thing as a selfless act, right?
Yes.
Does that change for people like you, people with autism?
I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think it changes in my opinion, everything that we do on some level is to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And
does that increase with somebody with autism?
Oh, maybe, but I feel like it's just maybe a little bit more extreme in the sense that, like, so you know me, I want to save the world. I want to fix the world. And I didn't know this, but apparently that is something that is very typical of autism, is this strong sense of right and wrong and justice. Okay. And so like the young lady that became like a star, talking about the environment, Greta or something like that. What's her name?
Thunberg.
Yeah.
Thunberg or something.
So that is a sort of a very, very typical autism presentation. This strong desire to, like,
she's autistic.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so
thought she presented as different. Like she just,
yes.
I was just chalked it up as she's from Russia, wherever she's from.
Oh, okay.
But
she not. I thought she was American. She's not American.
I don't know. I don't think. I mean, her name is Greta Thunberg.
You act like we don't got every
true.
ethnicity in America.
That's true.
We're really sitting here straight. Greta Thunberg. She's Swedish.
Okay.
But that actually makes some sense because you're not making that in America.
Right. Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back because I would do that. Because, like, what I think about is that's me. 10 years from now, when y'all are like, yo, he really is literally out here trying to end homelessness. This fool is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be me. Because I'm not joking. I'm doing it.
She definitely has autism.
I'm 97% sure of that. Hold on. What did I just do? So somebody's going to be like, how dare you? I can't believe you said that.
I know.
Maybe what if she
Yeah,
doesn't?
autism helped make her the world's most important person for 2020.
I told you.
She got Times 2020 most important person.
And so here's my point. Greta is out here doing amazing, wonderful things in the world that are good for the world. But I'm willing to bet that it gives her a sense of satisfaction. Like when I think about, I got the name. You already know I got the name, Project Love. I am going to see if I can end homelessness. All I gotta do is make a whole bunch of money. I mean, that's a big if. that's a big if. Yeah. But I bet you I'll do it. Before I die.
I bet you will.
Before I die, you're gonna see this. They're gonna be like, this dude, I thought he was joking.
I've never seen you say you're gonna do something and then not do it.
Yeah. So mark my words. When I make a whole bunch of money, I'm gonna be out here giving away houses. You think I'm playing, but I'm not.
He ain't playing. I know it. I've never seen it.
It's a simple idea. Why don't we just give everybody a house?
Yeah. Yeah.
The government ain't going to do it. So somebody who's really rich has to go and do it. And then all the other rich people be like, oh, that's cool. That's crazy. I never thought about that. Here, I got $1 billion on it.
Yeah, that could catch
fire. I'm ending homelessness in America. Mark my words.
Yeah,
I mean, not me by myself.
No, but you're going to start the
the movement. This is the idea. Y'all can start without me. I'll catch up if you want to. Diddy, take Brooklyn. Where's
Brooklyn?
You know what I mean? Like just
Jay-Z's out there too.
Y'all got this, right?
Between Jay-Z and Diddy, they could fix all of New York.
Right?
Yeah, they could
buy up vacant buildings and give them away. How difficult is this?
Yeah,
it's not that difficult.
Right.
But I understand that people be like, man, you can do whatever you want with your money. So I'm like, all right, fine.
Right.
Skip it. Let me put down hold my root beer.
Yeah. Right.
That's the way I see it. But my point is, autism takes away the things that make you say, man, you can't do that. I'm like, why? I don't care what they say. I'll do it. Because I don't care what they say.
Right.
I literally don't. I don't care at all. And so the times in my life when I've done things that everybody's like, he did what? It's because I'm oblivious to the idea that you think people can't do that stuff.
So when you post something, you never ever process in your mind after you posted it, maybe I shouldn't have written that. Maybe that was a little too harsh.
Yes,
you ever have that
all the time.
You do?
All the time. But that's a battle. That's an internal battle. And I usually lose that battle.
How? What do you mean you lose?
So what I mean is there's a part of me that says, no, you know doggone well these people can't handle that. And I'm like, but they should be able to. Well, but they can't. Yeah, but they should. Okay, well, they can't. So you're going to hurt people's feelings. Yeah, but what if they can hear it? What if they can listen? Or what if they need that sting? Because this is going to help somebody. This is a love shot. At the end of the day, this is love.
Yeah.
And then I usually just do it. You don't know how often I type something out, show it to Dara, say, can I say this? And she says no. And then I delete it. But then every now and again, I type something out and don't show it to her because I know what she would say no and I don't care. I can't handle it. It's like I'm on a burst.
I feel like in many ways, I'm the exact opposite of that.
Really?
Yeah. I constantly have a voice in my head saying, you should not say that. You should not do that.
Yeah.
So I won't, which is why if you look through my timeline, you won't see a whole lot.
Yeah. No.
Of posts. No, you're posting what, every day, a couple times?
Multiple. And yeah, social media is actually bad for me because it indulges my desire to just express my thoughts.
Right.
There are always thoughts. You don't know how much I filter. Jeez. Listen, if you think what I actually say is out there.
Yeah. You're talking about just the tip of this iceberg.
Listen, if y'all could read my thoughts,
you could be in prison.
I would be an outcast.
Yeah.
Because I just view the world totally differently. The rest of the world spent the last 9 months trying not to get COVID. I managed to get autism.